So my opponent here has what I think is a dislike, and every turn I can just not attack. I can play my hat until I finally get untargetable, and with that I can actually kill him because he can not target this thing, and I will have unblockable, untargetable, just awesomeness coming his way. I'm going to play another hat for fun. Hey everyone, Elio here with another video for the Emergents trading card game. I am playing and showing off a new deck that I built here that I think is a lot of fun, a little memey, but still effective. The deck is centered around a couple of cards, but the namesake is this guy, the Hat Overlord. 4/4 for 4 and 2 yellow non-stop energy. He has Eager, and when your rival's recruit step starts, return the hat to your hand, and he gets -1 cost. Normally, this isn't that great. You can get in for 4 damage, but then you can never block with this guy. If you want to be attacking multiple turns, you're paying 7 mana total for 2 turns, and then 9 over 3, etc. But what we're going to try to do in this deck is take advantage of the fact that he's coming in repeatedly. Your opponent can only really interact with it on their before blocker step. So anytime that you try to cast it and not attack, it'll return to your hand without any interaction point for your opponent until you're ready to actually get in with those attacks. That matters because the next card that is the key pivotal piece for this deck is Independent Study. 4 and an Alkalite Purple energy. When a character you control arrives, enhance the arrived character. This gives it a random ability of either +1/+1, Evasion, Eager, Flurry 1, Follow Through, Unblockable, Untargetable, or Anticipate. Normally, I thought that this was kind of a weaker card. If you look at cards in some other colors, you can see things like Boxing Lessons in blue, which just gives characters +1/+1. And it doesn't matter if they came in before you played the asset or after, they're just always going to have it. Independent Study, however, can do a lot of little things. Some of it +1/+1, and some of these can just be kind of useless, and your units that are already in play aren't going to be affected by it at all. But the hat gets played over and over and over. And in Emergence, when a card returns to your hand, it keeps all of the abilities that it had granted to it. So each time you cast it, it gets another ability tacked on and becomes more and more powerful. So our goal is to get 1 or 2 Independent Studies out, and then eventually get maybe a unblockable 5/5 Flurry 2 hat that is destroying our opponent with very few interaction points. On top of this, we have other things that work well with this kind of Independent Study buffing plan. First is Waxwerx, which is a new card that you can get in the shop. When Waxwerx is destroyed, you create a copy of him. Similar to before, any abilities or stat buffs that he had apply to the copy. For 4 and 2 red nonstop for a 3/3, this also works really well with Independent Study because the first time it comes in, it's going to get a buff, and then if it dies, it'll keep that buff and then trigger Independent Study again. Mad Confectionist, similarly, 1/1 for 1. I like this in a lot of my sculpture decks because it's just an effective thing to play on turn 1. It creates an endless pool of chump blockers if that's what you need in the end game. In this case, when it creates a copy of itself, the way that triggers work in Emergence is that they'll randomly stack, but if it goes your way, then you'll first trigger the Independent Study, giving it some sort of added ability or buff, and then the copy in your hand will also have that added ability or buff, meaning each one down the chain can get stronger and stronger. Finally, we have a one-off, a Fire Sculpture, which can let us have some crazy turns where we play a big hat or play a big Waxwerx. It gets triggering an Independent Study. We then copy it with all those buffs, and the new copy also triggers some Independent Studies. Second Wind helps us get some of our additional stats on things like Waxwerx, or get some free kills when we surprise block our opponents. We have 3 of Sidestep. When your rival targets a character you control, all characters you control temporarily gain untargetable It gets shuffled back into your deck and you draw a card. Just in case your opponent does have something in there before blocker step to deal with your hat, Sidestep's going to make sure that that's not actually going to kill it. Rounding out the deck, we have some other cards, things like Vanish to buy time and slow down our opponent. A one-off of Recount, which will punish our opponent for playing on curve and slow them down in the early game if we cast it. A varied suite of damage-dealing spells, 3 Scorch, 2 Explosive Truffles, and 2 Nova. A one-off of Whip Trip. This can maybe be more. Really big fan of this card. With 1 and a red energy being a trap that depletes all attackers when you're attacked in combat and ending combat. It can buy you 2 turns in some scenarios, which, when Hat is facing them down, is pretty critical. Finally, we have a suite of units that we want to be able to benefit with independent study if we need, and just be early blockers or early threats to ping our opponents, so later in the game we can easily actually finish them off. Afterimage, one of my favorite non-stop yellow cards. I'm going to play it in every non-stop deck. If you're not playing it, you should be. Airborne Hustler, very simple, 2/2 for 2 with evasion. And then finally the Cornerman, a very effective blocker, probably the best blocker in the game for its cost, with a 2/4, the ability to block evasion characters, and additional attack when it's defending. That's the core of the deck. One other thing I just want to call out here is this is a tricolor deck. In Emergents, you get additional cards in your starting hand if you have at least 10 cards of a new color. So with 3 cards having that condition met, Acolyte just squeaking in there at 10 cards, this deck starts with a 7-card hand, which we can use to eke out advantage over our opponent as we look to beat him down with the hat. I think that's all for the deck. Let's jump into some games. Okay, here we are against Recount 093. I think I got the pronunciation there right, but you can never be too sure. It looks like they're on 2-color, Acolyte and Tinkerer, purple and gray. Getting our turn just started here, playing out our Afterimage. I was going to say a lot of scout stuff going on today. There's a great scout card released this week, and I think people are trying that out. Scout can get a lot of aggro and damage quicker, so we just need to be wary of that. But we have some good evasion starting off that we are able to pressure with. I think on next turn, if we can't... I wonder if this last turn, if we should have built purple by discarding the Recount. Not sure. On turn 4, we want to be playing Independent Study. But, maybe next turn we do something like go and... Okay, so we can play another Airborne Hustler. We can discard the Recount to get us a purple energy. The best thing he can do right now is get a Cornerman, and we're kind of okay with that because our plan is not actually to kill with all these little hasty or all these evasion dudes. Our plan is to remove the like just to go long, use independent studies to kill with the hat. Yeah. Okay, so he's doing some sort of zero-off stuff, and it didn't look like he had a... oh, that is so good. So we'll eat this, but it didn't look like he had a other gear stuff to be able to go follow this. But he didn't have a Cornerman, is actually what I was thinking of. So he's going to have trouble blocking this stuff, and he's going to be on the back foot, and we're going to be able to build this independent study. I'm not going to discard... I do kind of want to build red this turn, but the Confectionist is going to be so much better once I can actually cast it. So I'm going to hold off on doing that. Maybe I'll build it next turn. I'd really like to play the Hat down next turn. If we have another red on top, we're in a really good spot because we can play the Hat, we can play a Confectionist or a Scorch, and opponent is just in trouble. Okay, he's bouncing something to our hand. That's fine. We're planning on playing the Hat anyway. It is scary if he gets to these guys being a 5/5 because all of a sudden those things become really aggressive. It may be worthwhile for me to Scorch one of those while they're still small. Okay. We will ditch this. I'm kind of tempted to keep going. 40%. Let's see what the Hat gets us, because we know we want to do this. Anticipate the worst thing that we can get. There's another red thing on top. Oh, we do have a red. Okay, so we can play the Mad Confectionist. Discarding that was really bad. I wasn't paying attention enough. Not really bad, but a mistake for sure. Pretty soon we can sidestep and use our... It's fine. Use our Hat and our Scorch, and doing that just gives us a lot of pressure. Opponent's down to 12 life. Their best thing they could be doing here is don't hit like, okay, not my favorite thing we're hitting a hit. We have lots of things that we can chump with. If he does get 5/5s, and the Hat is going to become dangerous soon. The fact that he's not attacking with the Secret Admirers means that we're drawing something that he doesn't know about. I think we go ahead and play the Hat with a sidestep. 5/5. Okay. Play the sidestep. This should help erase some of his outs of slowly bouncing our things. We need to get evasion on the Hat, though. Okay, jumping into another game here. This time against Poetro, running red and gear. Often this is robots. They get a turn 1 robot out. We can almost certainly do something on our turn. Would love for the top to not be purple, because I'd rather that be coming later so I can naturally cast this Recount. And then handle that as I need. But we'll go and play out Mad Confectionist and not do anything else. It's just a 1/2 evasion. Can't be blocked. We don't love this matchup. We don't have a lot of removal for all the small different things that this can create, and we really need to draw things like our Scorches. This might be a Whip Trip, might be a Scorch, probably a Scorch. This might be a Rebot, probably a Rebot, could be a Makeover, but I don't think it is. Yellow on top. We're going to take the block, and we can play our Airborne Hustler, which will be ooh, he's got maybe a Scorch. So we'll leave the Hustler back actually for now and play a Afterimage, because if this is a Scorch, we'd rather bait out the Scorch against our Afterimage. We'll find out soon enough if this is a Whip Trip. We don't know. Not a Whip Trip. The trade-off that we kind of made there is the energy efficiency. So now by doing that, we don't necessarily have a great follow-up plays next turn, but because we have this second wind in our hand, we can probably fill out our mana next turn no matter what. 0/6 blocker, it's fine. And another red mana, maybe a Scorch. Kind of tempted to almost play a Hustler out and just immediately second wind it. By doing that, we require 2 Scorches to answer it, but I think we also just eventually leave this guy here with a second wind to block and eat this. Now this is tricky. I could build this second red for Waxwerx. But I think that I do want to do that actually. My other option is to Airborne Hustler and second wind, but then if he Scorches my 2 things immediately, I mean I can Airborne Hustler next turn, but it's just not as I don't like that play as much. So we're gonna do this. We'll continue taking 1. And we'll attack in for 1 again. This one could also give his units +2 attacks, so we have to be wary of that. The other thing is that, with all these small units, if we get purple on top, we can use that to build Independent Study. There's the Scorch that we've been worried about. And if the UI is right, then that means that was... okay, the UI was unclear. So what's remaining? Could still be Scorch, could also be the +2 attack. Take a sip of my water here. He has enough things out now that, let's see, could play the Waxwerx. Even though this Waxwerx is not buffed with anything, I still kind of like it because it's just really effective against the Daddio. And we only have 1 yellow energy anyway. So we're going to play one of our Waxwerxes out. Hope to draw something like Nova wouldn't be bad. Seeing purple on top would let us actually use the Independent Study. Now that he has that out, there's a lot of damage being threatened here. And that's good. We just need to make sure we preserve our life total. I think I will double block here. And save 3/3, because then I can potentially second wind it. When do we just discard this Recount so that we can... Probably should have done it last turn. Okay, yeah, we'll cycle the Recount here. It's a 2/2. What's the bot gonna replace? Okay, cool. We'll cycle this. Successful. Cool. Then we can let's get a Hustler out. Or we could, gosh, this is so hard. We do 2 Mad Confectionists and a second wind. Let's do that. No, Hustler and a Mad Confectionist. Build that Acolyte. Now we have the energy to be able to play Independent Study. If that's a Scorch, he's probably going to use it. If it's not a Scorch, then we can officially start blocking the bot. Okay, it is a Scorch. Second one of those, so we just have to be wary that now every time something dies we're taking 2 damage. So right now on board there's basically 10 damage out. Can kind of consider ourselves at 10 life. We're on the back foot. Wonder if he's going to play another spell. If he does, it's going to get eaten by our trap. Ooh, that is scary. Okay, now we would love to see Nova. Scorch. I think we Scorch. We're gonna play it out. We will block here. What turns into something? Turns a 06 into a 4/2. Play the Independent Studies. We'll play a 2/2. This can now 3/3. Okay, that's pretty good. We can Scorch Leah, since this is very problematic for us. And you know, our main threats are these combustions now. So we do need to start getting on the board and presenting a threat to him. So we'll build yellow so that we can start playing the hat. Not attacking with anything. I don't think that we play the hat yet, though. I think that what we need to do... Alright, Focused Fire is not great for us. And another Leah. Yeah, brutal. I think that might end the game. Yeah, I just didn't draw things in the right order. That's okay. So take 3, another thing turns into a 4-2. But that Leah is going to be our downfall. The Waxwerx. Play a second wind. Play a sidestep. I think, mistake this game, not playing this independent study earlier. But if we had discounted this, wildcarded this earlier, oh, that's a great thing to sidestep. Does he still get to do the rest of it? Yeah, he still does, I think. This game doesn't do like fizzling like it does in Magic the Gathering, where the entire effect gets countered. But that has eager. That's good. And he was one effect man away from being able to just have that recounted. And shuffling our deck made that awkward. So we can't draw a red card anymore and maybe get a Nova. Basically just dead here. Okay, that's game. Okay, got a new game against misfitsflux. This is a good player, a streamer in their own right. I'm gonna go ahead and save for later the second wind, see what they're doing. I see they're on Acolyte and Tinker. I did see in the chat that they're trying to brew with some new cards that they got. So some recent stuff that came out. There's some Scout builds that he could be doing. He could be using a robot build. There's a new evasive big beater of a robot guy. We'll see. My hand is kind of awkward because pretty much whatever comes out next turn, we're going to have to wildcard something that we don't really want to wildcard. I may wildcard a Cornerman so that I can cast this Cornerman on turn 3. These hats, 3 hats is not where you want to be drawing. I just don't need 3 of those. They're not good in duplicates. Seeing this makes me think that this is the bot plan that I was kind of talking about, that maybe he's doing big bots. We'll see what the purple is for. Everything in my hand also has double cost. The fact that he's playing an analytics lesson means that he's probably a little bit slower. So that feels somewhat good. I do not have a fast hand. And everything in my hand having double cost. It's one of the challenges of this deck building. I do think I'm going to go ahead and build a second yellow here, though. So I'll play this, get rid of a hat. I guess I'm just tacking with it. Not a bad thing to happen. This gives me the double yellow that I can start using these hats. I think there is a question of if I cast a 4-mana hat next turn or a 3-mana hat and bring it down to 2 cost. It also depends on what I draw on top. These Waxwerx feel super slow. And I think I'd rather one be a fire sculptor, so I'll probably ditch one of those to build red. He's continuing to be slow. It does look like he's doing some scout stuff since he has ASMR. In order to support that, you need a lot of scout in your deck, which makes me think that next turn he's probably going to come out with maybe a bookworm. Not really what I want to see. This was a mistaken attack. I think people forget that Cornerman has Anticipate. I think that I'd rather have the wax than... Oh my god. 2 successful things in a row is pretty good. I don't really need that card, but it's there. I will... So next turn I'll have 5. I'll go and play... Four mana hat, 3 mana hat, 4 mana hat, 3 mana hat. This is also susceptible to a dislike, so let's use a 4 mana hat. Get it down to 3 mana as well. Build a single red. Attacking with both since it's just kind of a free 2 damage. But we're a long way from winning this game right now, especially with no independent lessons or independent studies right now. Yeah. Red on top isn't a great sign. Okay. I think that I might just Nova this board and feel good about it. So I don't want that ASMR to grow more. I am just going to play... Three mana hat. And save this for later. Build red. So now we have 2 reds. Can attack with both. If he chumps, he takes 2. If he doesn't chump, he takes 4. Independent studies on top. Can potentially get studies plus hat, which would be exactly what we're trying to do. And really give us exactly what we need to be able to pull out this game. Reprogram's still a thing on his side. Sensor's fine. That looks like it's a Toxic Fumes. Come on, independent studies. Still afraid of reprogram. Play this out. What do we get? 5/5. This could be... I am just going to kill this with Scorch, because I don't want to get this sneakily eaten. If this was the -X toughness equal to the number of robots, then he could trade there, and that would just be really, really unfortunate. Next turn, though, we can maybe hat and sculpt it. He might reprogram here. If he reprograms, it's really his entire turn. Fumes is still, what that card can likely be, but I don't think he scouted anything this game. I think that's just a 3/6. Okay, he scouted one thing, and he would draw that with that. So let's see. The hat first. What's it get? Flurry 1. I think that we just sidestep and then play a Waxwerx. We won't attack with this turn. We could go ahead and, that's untargetable. We go ahead and give the 6 attack. No, he could still trade if he gets what he needs. Well, I give this -2, and then you need to trade it with the memento. I think I'm okay with that. 2 hats still in hand. Oh, I have a sidestep, so I can safely attack with this. Build a yellow. Attack here. There's the fumes. Still a big boy. He doesn't have enough to be able to kill it. That's why you did the second wind. The flurry, that's gonna die. There's now 0 cost. Pretty soon it starts giving you extra mana. He gets to draw something in our deck, but it's one thing. I don't think there's a lot in here that's great for opponents. Pays 5 to draw a card. Love it, love it. Still have the sidestep on our side. That's going to combo with memento, but it's okay. Opponent's on the back foot. Next turn, I think we can actually play 2 hats plus a Fire Sculptor on this hat. He's taking a... What color card is that? Gear? Do I have gear in this deck? I'm very confused. I don't understand how that's a gear. We'll take the damage though. Play a hat. We'll sculpt it. And then we'll play another hat. We could play the Whip Trip, but he's not really threatening lethal here. That one's unblockable. 3 hats. Build another yellow. It's pretty much dead. You might be able to stall something out, but that'll do it. GG's. Okay, playing against some purple, gray, and red. They only have 6 cards in hand, so they do not have the at least 10 of one of these colors. We just don't know which color it is. Right now it looks like it might be gray, but who knows. CrymsonKing. So, ooh, what was that? Independent Studies. Love to see it. Big fan of the card, as you can see from our deck. Not sure what we want on top. Purple is okay. We can go ahead and play out this Vanish. We also have enough yellow cards in hand that we can go ahead and also play this Afterimage and not feel upset about not building yellow right now, because we'll be able to build that later. The deck does need at least 2 yellow in order to be playing the hat. Sometimes you want to get to 4 or 6 in situations where you're casting multiple hats in a turn. The opponent has cast a purple on 2. Did they have purple last time? I think they did. So I think it's less likely that this is like a Vanish. Though they did just cycle a Vanish. So we'll throw our own Vanish into this, see if... Okay, it's not the counter the first thing. We'll get another Afterimage out there. We'll cast our 2 Afterimages, and we'll throw a second wind onto the later. So if it's the cast kind of... Okay, so it's not the counter of your first spell, it's not the counter all your spells. It looks like it's just another Vanish, which is fine. Where if there's a gear at some point, then that may end up being a Toxic Fumes. There's a pretty decent argument for actually using second wind at some point, particularly after this turn if he doesn't Scorch. It's less... Oh, okay. Failed. Risky go from him. I think that I personally just try to live out for finding the gear on top, unless it's a lesser color. But now that it's not there, we actually have a lot of freedom in terms of how long we have to wait. Okay. We may want to ditch our Sculpture so that we can play some of this other removal, because otherwise this is going to do a good job of racing us. So we'll just ditch this Sculpture. We'll build a red this turn. We'll play Sidestep and another second wind. But we'll take 3 damage. I'm not gonna trade because we have so much removal on our side. I'd rather have this 3 damage. The thing is that the 3 damage is a 8-turn clock, but 2 damage is a 12-turn clock, and that's a lot slower. We can speed this up by doing a second wind, which maybe I'll do next time. But I really want to see him cast a Scorch first. We do have this Sidestep though, so maybe that's greedy. Well, okay, so there's that. So again, I still want to see that Scorch used. See what we get here. Okay, with another one of those, I think that I feel comfortable enough that I'll second wind next turn, so I increase the clock. Though, does it even increase it by that much? So 4 is a 6-turn clock. 3 is a 7-turn clock. We're not quite there yet. I don't think I do it yet. Okay. Depending on what I draw, I'll Scorch something. I think that's all 3 Vanishes. No, it's 2 Vanishes. Oof. Okay, let's try to cast this on... Okay, that is countered. Or it's wild carded. With that, we want to... Oof. I think we Scorch the 2-drop because it's more likely to get out of hand in the future. Oh. We don't have another red. That's fine. We will build this red here. We'll attack for 3. Next turn we're going to 14, so he's ahead of us on the clock. He's trying to get aggressive with the independent studies. 7 turn clock for him. Going down to 14. He really leapfrogged us. I once again did not second wind, and maybe I should have. There's the Scorch. Would love to see a hat, even though I don't have my own independent study. That 4 damage actually is kind of going to be effective right now in terms of speeding up our clock. This is fantastic to draw, though, because it's going to be able to trade with these pyrotechniques and make it really awkward for him. Interesting. I think I go and Scorch this because this could grow bigger at any time, and then it becomes hard to handle and out of our control. Still not going to cast these ready spells yet because they're just not there. But I will cast a Mad Confectionist, which can block here. If he uses a removal spell or bounce, then we're fine with it. We're going to 11, have lots of breathing room at this point. If we can get the second wins on the Waxwerx, it really makes it big. He has no red built at this point. Wait, how's that possible? Oh man, did he cast multiple things each turn and not be able to build red? Oh, he's been getting to purple for some other spell. I see. And now he's getting punished. It's awkward. There's the abyss that he was building towards. I get it. But it is greedy. He's at a 6% wildcard chance. I don't really want to cast this Waxwerx now, knowing that he's got so much. Since that could be a steal card and he has so much wildcard percentage, but I will. I will play this hat just to lower its cost. So I'll play a Mad Confectionist. And we'll play a hat. We're not going to attack with the hat. We're just going to lower its cost to 3. Build 1 more red. Leave the hat back. Use our Confectionist to block for 1. Put him to 12. If he has a discard the 2 most expensive spells, then it hits Waxwerx and Mad Confectionist, which is fine. Next turn we could potentially draw a... Okay. This could mean that we take 6. Oh, he's doing it on that. Okay. We'll chump here if we are given the opportunity. That could be a lot of things. I kind of want to treat it as a potential 4 damage spell. I'm going to chump here, as I said. Still no independent study. We can't attack with the hat now, or we can. Yeah. That's an Abyss power. So, in case this is Truffles, we'll play out this one first. Do we have... we only have 2 yellow. Okay, so we'll play this... play the Confectionist first. We'll play the Hat. And we'll buff the Hat to 5, so that if that's a deal 4, it's not good enough. Now we'll start building yellow, allowing us to play multiple hats pretty soon. If that's a Nova, he could kill everything. I think this might be a steal, a unit spell, but we'll see. I want to wait until he's at 10 mana before he casts like this Waxwerx because of that fact. It also might be a Fire Sculpture. And if it is, then he is indeed going to be doing a lot of Abyss stuff, but it's not a Fire Sculpture. He would have cast it. Jump again. He may have a deal 7, and I don't want to all of a sudden die. If he has a deal 7 and a shock, then we're dead. So I'm gonna play the Hat. Gonna play another Confectionist. Not Whiplashing yet. We have 2 Vanishes if we need them. They should, in theory, put him at 3 life. We'll see if it does in practice. Oh my god. Okay, down to the wire. 3 big red cards. He's gonna have 9 mana for this purple card in hand. What is it? Oh, is he... Oh, okay, that hot swap, I think he's not going to get rid of the one in hand. He's just going to get a random card. This erases any number of cards in your hand, and then you erase hot swap and get 1 for every card you erased, including the hot swap. So he gets 1 random purple card. A lot of purple cards are not exciting to see right now. But that one's kind of fine, to be honest. I think what he has in hand is a... Okay, so that was Focused Beam. I was right to put that at 4 attack. He's going to go to 6. I think I do Vanish this turn. He's trying to finish me off. And we don't want to let him. So I think we banish both of these things and attack for lethal. So we got Vanish there. Oh, this is good. Yeah, and we got the Sidestep. We have Vanish there. Then we have our turn. We'll play the Hat. We'll play Sidestep. We don't want to have anything that's not attacking because he could... No, Sidestep still stops that. So I think we could just do this. I'm gonna play this for later. Play this for later. Go in. That should be game. Cool. Okay. Playing against Chase on 5-color, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 card hand. Okay. Love to see it. So he's playing 10 cards, 5 colors. And that's it. And he's got the perfectly even draw here. Not perfectly even, but I mean, look at that. That's beautiful, right? That's like almost as close as you can get on that. Wonder what they all are. On our side, we do have independent study, and we have a let's see, wave or Waxwerx to work with that. Red card on top. We'll go ahead and play a Truffles to build out that red. He built out blue by discarding Sucker Punch. It does seem playing double cost cards in this seems risky. If he's trying to wildcard something out big, I'm glad to be able to remove that so he isn't getting any extra odds there. I will go ahead and play my Cornerman, next turn I'll independent study and discard an Afterimage to build yellow, and then we can go from there. I could actually Cornerman and build yellow this turn, because we never need more than 1 purple. So that's what we'll do. We'll play that. We'll cycle this to build yellow, and we'll pass. Okay. His side, let's see. Four red cards, no red belt. He can play one of his purples right now if he has it set up. And he is going for it. I have to imagine that's a counter of sorts. And if it is, I don't want to go into it. So I think I'm going to play around it. Oof. Okay, we'll vanish that so that he can't keep that in play. That's a beautiful Devastrix. Devastatrix. Yeah, we just can't afford that to be a counter spell. So we'll play the Afterimage. Okay, cool. And we'll play a second Cornerman. We'll build yellow. And we'll tack in. Does he not actually have purple built? Oh, he doesn't, because he built red with that. You have to be really careful in how you're building things. That's just a straight 5-3, which is fine. But next turn he can play the Devastrix, which I think is his kind of goal here. I really hope he doesn't have asset removal. All these colors, but that really might be a neutralize. I assume he's building red here, because he has the Devastrix in hand. He's building purple. Alright, we'll build our study. will Afterimage. Successful. See what it gets. Follow through, not very useful. We'll play the second one. And that is pretty useful. Now what's he gonna play here? And he built the purple. What does he want it for? Oh, his own independent study. Okay. Okay. He might discard a red card here if he has Nova and he's trying to build it. He could be doing anything. This is ridiculous. How am I supposed to know what I'm supposed to play around? 7 damage to face? Was I supposed to play around that at some point? He could be doing anything. It's madness. What he's doing is madness. It should not be allowed. It should be illegal. Looks kind of fun though. I will block here. He's clearly in some way thinking that he's killing people, and that's his plan with the 7 damage to face spells, so I don't want to help, make that possible. I will play a Waxwerx. I get to Flurry, and I will play Sidestep in case he has any removal. I'm kind of expecting a... the red... I'm kind of expecting a potential Nova, which with this is going to be just great for us because we'll get a 4/4. No, we'll get a respawned 3/3 with Flurry and then enhanced Waveworks. Untargetable 1/1's fine. Yeah, he can be doing anything. This man's a madman. You love to see it. Might be doing anything. What has he got here? All these double spells. Triple? How is he going to cast triple Phaeton's Fury? I guess he has these gremlins. Sure is scary. Does the Devastrix. It's got Eager. The attacks will block. Will we? Yeah, we'll block. We don't want him repeatedly activating that ability. What was that? That's Trebuchet? It's Madman. Ooh. Okay. 8/6. With Flurry. Jeez. Jesus. 16 damage. Okay. This is the plan. You play big things with independent study, and those things are really scary. I am scared. Your plan has worked. Does he offer the trade? So I do think we attack for 6. We'll play Confectionist. At this point, we kind of have to hope that he does not have a untargetable Fire Nova on top. But I'm going to attack with this and offer a trade. A Fire Nova would be pretty brutal. Can he make copies of this? Because once he can, that copy will have Flurry, which is, again, very sick. And that copy comes in with another independent study. That's very neat. Very neat. So this card, 6 and 3 red, 8/6. You can play 3 and 3 red to deplete it and make a copy of it, which seems pretty fun to play with independent study. All right, we're getting some damage in. Love to see the Hat on top because he's starting to scare me, this guy. And that's the Nova. Okay. What do we get here? Eager, not very useful. We need the Hat. If he attacks at all, he doesn't have good attacks because we can trade with all of it. But he starts making copies of Helios next turn. So we really, really need the Hat. Though we can attack with our 3/3 and make him make decisions. Okay, so that's the Hat. Let's see what we get here. Unblockable. Perfect. He could have another Sucker Punch in hand. What are the chances he's playing 2? Now, do we use Whip Trip right now? I don't think so, because I think we can use this to deplete something when we like really need to deplete something. Attack with both these, so he has to either sacrifice the Devastrix or the Fate, what's this guy's name? Helios, Professor Helios. Okay. No more tricks with the Hat, but we do have the unblockable Eager, which is probably the best thing we could have gotten, knowing that he's going to get rid of it. We got 10 damage threatening. If he trades that, all the depleting on Devastrix isn't going to be very effective. One of the things that's cool about the Hat, you can't really deplete it effectively. Things like Whip Trip don't really slow it down. Devastrix doesn't slow it down. Two powerful activated abilities here, one to give things attack and one thing to deplete them, but neither is going to have the effect that he needs. What he needs is a fight spell, but we have Sidestep to dodge one of those. And on our turn, we can Whip Trip him if he hasn't played any units and try to go on the attack. Ooh, I will Whip Trip that proactively. I think. I don't want him gaining life. This gains 3 life when it attacks, and it's going to be an 8/8 flurry. So, he's depleting something. Okay. We draw something. Another Sidestep. So we deplete this. We attack. We take 5, and that's, she should be dead, 4/6/8, because we'll just not block here. Deplete that. Play the Hat. Play Sidestep. Play Mad Confectionist. Play another one. GG. Okay, we're jumping into a game against YouTube Taddy93, YT Taddy93. I don't know if that's what that username means. Looking to see if this player is on YouTube. They are. It looks like they've got a channel. This
Bella a tutti ragazzi
is one of their
benvenuti ad un nuovo
first games on Emergents. You can see that because they have a 0 there, which means they have 0 PvP wins. But looks like they did get some of the early mechanics, understanding that you have to wild card. So I think we'll go and play out this game and see how it goes. Their side, they're playing Gear, Gray, and Tinker Alkalite. Usually slower control kind of builds. We have a kind of versatile hand, but luckily we have some early plays in Afterimage, which we'll go ahead and do and play out this initial Afterimage, and we'll see where it goes from here. Sorry for a little hesitation there, just trying to figure out some sound issues on my side. A Vanish on our unit. We're happy to have that. Don't really want to be vanishing such low-cost, small things. It's usually not going to be a huge impact on your game plan. This is either a second Vanish or maybe a Thoughtseize, but we'll go ahead and play into whatever that is. If it is another Vanish, we could have played 2 Afterimages to make it less effective, but if you want to use this Vanish immediately on this, I'm totally fine with that. We're really trying to play to the later game where we're doing crazy hat stuff, and this early game is all about staying alive. Something to be aware of in this color combo, we've got Reprogram and Gray to steal our independent studies. So if we can play out some other actions before then, it may help give him some bait in case he is running that card. Purple has the discard 2 highest cost energy cards in opposing hand, which may be able to nab our Hat or Nova. Playing the Hat out earlier can lower his cost and just make him a little bit more protected there. Here comes an Ixnay, bouncing our evasive card to our hand. We'd, on our side, at this turn, like to see something besides non-stop yellow on top so that we can cast and build appropriately, which we did. So we'll build out a Vanish, getting some of that target, as we said before, in an Airborne Hustler, so that we can continue going in. He does seem to be playing some aggressive bounce, and the fact that he played that Vanish early, so he may have another Ixnay, so I'd rather play my 2-drop than play my 3-drop, the Cornerman, which is going to be a better blocker, but isn't going to feel as good to have vanished. Attack coming in, it's fine. There's a Cornerman. I suspect that it's very possible we have an independent study on top. We'll go and play a Cornerman and back it up with a second wind. And the 5/4 can be vanished on his turn if need be, or rather on our declare blocker step if need be. It's just a vanilla 5/4, and we want to make it as ineffective to have that unit out where we're just slowly stalling him. Still probably a Vanish, but could be a Thoughtseize. We can also trade the Cornerman with his 5/4, which is certainly a reasonable option. Save our Vanish for another big thing that we need to more aggressively keep off the board. I am kind of afraid of things like Crime Blotter plus Bookworm, which can make everything in our hand be more expensive and just be a lot of power on the board in general. He did wildcard this dislike despite having... Oh, he didn't have the gear to pay for it. So you might have 2 more dislikes in hand. That's kind of what I read into that, is that he's got expensive gear costs that he's wanting to be able to cast. That 2 energy... Alkalite card there scares me a little. I do think I'm going to go ahead and trade here rather than Vanish. Well, no, we'll Vanish because I think he's got other expensive things in hand and he's going to have trouble playing everything out. So now this could be the counter. The first thing that you play could be countered if you have spent all your energy. I really want to get out this independent study, though. I could figure out which one it is, so I can play both Afterimages and the Cornerman. Let's do that. So let's forge this. Okay, it's not counted the first. Play the Cornerman second, since it's our spell that we want the most. And is it the counter if you spent all your energy? It is not. Okay. It's either a Vanish, maybe a... don't want to attack him with the Cornerman. We'll just continue on. Maybe a Vanish, maybe a Tail of the Tapes. At this point, we do not know. He plays this back out. It's fine. As well as a 3-2. Now, by trying to play around those 2 spells last turn, I really lost a lot of value of Independent Study where all these things could be enhanced. So I'm really playing kind of heavily towards the... I'm going to play our Truffles. Playing heavily towards getting a Hat victory. Which itself is vulnerable to something like Dislike there. So hopefully if he has that, he uses on one of our other units. Played out this Truffles. If he plays a unit, it'll deal 4 to it. It's kind of making me wish that I had saved my Vanish but we still can trade a Cornerman for that unit and have another Cornerman available to do all of our dirty work. So that's going to survive that. Now, if we're kind of fine with him drawing nothing but Genesis squad members for the rest of the game, and we'll come in with the Hat and finish off things that way. It puts him in a spot where he's stuck with the actions that are in his hand, and we could have tried to Scorch that with Wildcard, but again, we're fine with him drawing these things. So we'll play the Hat. enhance it untargetable. So if he has dislike, he's not going to be able to use it. We also can't use our own things on this, so we'll play some spells to ready them. Build a red this time. And we'll get this back in our hand. Goal is just to get this hat with some sort of evasive ability so we can start getting in. Hopefully before he overwhelms us with all of the Genesis Squadron members that he gets every turn. So he can't draw regular cards. Whenever he would actually draw a card, he instead forges a random Genesis Squadron member, which are all 6 cost cards of all the 5 different colors. In this case, he is getting the Abyss out, which is going to be a little scary because this gives him a really powerful action. Usually those actions are very expensive though, and if he's trying to do something like steal one of our characters, he's going to run into trouble doing so with the amount of energy that he has. We do have 2 sidesteps available. That was a dislike that he had, but there's no wildcard target turn to hit with it, and we're never really going to have any. I think that's a misplay from him. He didn't realize that right now the game kind of lets you take those actions even if it's not legal targets. Unfortunate from his side, for sure. We do have the sidestep now, though, so if he has anything that would really be threatening to us, sidestep is always going to counter it. And our hat is now unblockable, so we can start getting in and forcing damage. I don't want to use Second Wind on the hat yet because there may be a case where the most effective thing that I can actually do is put it onto the Cornerman. And actually, I should kind of correct myself. I can't use Second Wind on the hat because the hat is untargetable, and this affects both enemy spells and my own. So I'm kind of, at this point, playing with whatever Independent Studies gives me in terms of buffs on the hat. He's probably maybe a little stumped as to why this can't be blocked right now, but it does have this unblockable ability. Eager, untargetable, unblockable. Spells that can come from this, there's a 10 mana steal unit, there's a maybe 4 mana kill unit, 5 mana kill unit, 4 mana draw 2 cards. There's a 1 mana look at your opponent's hand and their traps. He's using his energy this turn to get out his 8/6, which is fine from our side. We may start chumping with these 1/1s on the 6 power, especially since at some point we may cast the Nova on our side to start clearing the board. But a lot of this depends on what his action is this turn. This is Meditation. Draw 2 cards, so he gets 2 more of these Genesis Squadron members. This can really kind of... like, he got another Zeroth, which means now when he would draw a card, he gets 2 members. He's got ability Stopless. Which we can kind of answer a little bit more easily. But yeah, on his side, he's doing a lot of big things. So we're just trying to sneak by with the hat and chip away to eke out a victory. Curious to see if he... Yeah, he didn't attack there. Probably not going to come into play, but it might. Play Hat again. Anticipate, doesn't do anything. We will play out the Nova, and we'll attack in for 4. Go and build a second purple, that shouldn't matter too much. So we have Anticipate, Eager, Unblockable, and Untargetable, which leaves on the board +1/+1, Evasion, Follow Through, Flurry. We would love Flurry or +1/+1. And either of those will help us end the game quicker. 2 abilities in his hand, which are totally fine for us to see because we can kind of more easily deal with those. It's going to end up being a close game, particularly if we don't draw a Whip Trip or something similar. He Loyal Assassins on our side, getting rid of our... Okay, so we do get to Sidestep. And gets us another Sidestep, which is good. Continue to be able to play this thing. Maybe draw a Whip Trip if we're lucky. And on his side, he plays the second Zeroth, which means he's going to be making a lot of Zeroth things. If we draw it, we would play the second Nova. Do we have 2 Novas in this deck? How does this deck work? We'll have to see. Okay, so it's a Waxwerx. We will chump with 2 things here. Because this 8 and the 6 are the biggest things he can be attacking with. We can start with the Hat. Then we can play Waxwerx. See what the Hat gets. Follow Through. That's about almost the last useless thing we can get, so I haven't been super lucky. Unblockable on Waxwerx. And we can play this Sidestep. Okay. Attack with him once more. Let's put him at 11, and we've got at least 7 damage coming into him next turn with 2 Scorches that we can throw at his face. So we should be able to finish him off as long as we don't die this turn, which we should be able to secure. $14, $19. Yeah, he's going to have a lot of damage coming at us, though. We don't want him to be able to cast it. Okay, Basic Strike. What is this? Oh, is this discard? Oh, destroy target character. Okay, so that triggers our Sidestep. This is going to come down to the wire for sure. Another independent studies for us. Now he has these Vanishes out, which he may be able to actually use to kill us. So we need to be aware of how we can ensure a victory considering those vanishes. If we draw a sidestep, that should help do that. It's not a sidestep. We have 14, 19, 22 damage coming in. Our stuff is still untargetable. So let's block with the least amount that we need to. So this takes 5, 10, 16 damage. Go to 7 life. We'll play a second Studies. This gives us a really good shot of getting something lethal on the hat, specifically Flurry. There's the Flurry. Okay, so that'll make this 10 damage. We can now Scorch their face. And play out the Hustler, see what he gets. I think that this should be lethal, but we're just going to play everything out just in case. And let's go. Okay. He can only draw Genesis Squadron members, so there's no more actions coming in. He does have these 2 here, so you can try probably one of these as a Vanish. You can try vanishing on this, but it's not going to be enough because this is 10 damage. And that's that. GG. Okay, everybody, that's the video. I overall think the deck went pretty well. If I was going to make some changes after the fact, I might try to find some rooms for some Whip Trips or some Novas, since those aren't filled out. Maybe I'd replace the Truffles to do that. Thanks for watching. If you like it, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if there's any kind of content that you do want to see or questions that you have, let me know.